backstory. On Saturday, a small group of anti-Muslim demonstrators gathered to protest against New York City's Zohran Mamdani. To register their opposition to the demonstrators, a much larger group of leftists organized their own protest. They included two young men from Pennsylvania, the sons of Turkish and Afghan immigrants, who it turns out were wannabe ISIS terrorists. In defense of their religion, one shouted Allahu Akbar as the two lobbed bombs into a crowd of civilians, hoping to kill and maim scores of New Yorkers. By the grace of God, the bombs did not go off and no one was killed. All right, now let's play the game. Here's your first headline. Can you guess if this is a real headline or a satirical take on the news? Smoking jars of metal and fuses thrown at protest near mayor's house. Is this headline, which downplays bombs and insinuates the mayor was their target, a real headline about bombs thrown at civilians in defense of the mayor's religion? Or is it a spoof of the lengths the mainstream liberal media will go to make sure that they don't offend terrorist sympathizers? If you guessed a real headline, you're right. This was how the New York Times covered the event, along with many of your favorite newspapers and cable news channels. Article after article informed readers that an explosive device was thrown at a crowd during an anti-Islam protest or outside Gracie Mansion to give you the impression that it was the anti-Mamdani, anti-Muslim right-wing protesters who threw the bombs at Mamdani because he is a Muslim, instead of the truth, which is that Muslim terrorists threw the bombs at non-violent right-wing protesters. Let's do another one. Can you guess if this headline is the mainstream media or a spoof? At 13, he was selling sneakers. At 18, he's facing terror charges. Is this headline about a budding entrepreneur a real headline from the mainstream media? Or is it a spoof on how our media loves to humanize actual terrorists? If you guessed real headline, you're right. This was how the New York Times described an actual ISIS wannabe. We say this a lot around here, but you truly do not hate the liberal media enough. Let's try another one. Try to guess if this is a real sentence written by the liberal media. Two Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti-Muslim protest outside Mayor Mamdani's home. Can the news media truly have described terrorists attacking New Yorkers as the victims of police brutality? Or is this a satirical line from a joke website? If you guessed real, you're right again. This one was from CNN. You might see two ISIS wannabe terrorists trying to murder and maim scores of your neighbors, but to CNN, they will always be two Pennsylvania teenagers in search of a lovely warm afternoon in New York City.
Gotta watch those.
Himself, who gave the media the playbook for pretending
Gotta watch those Pennsylvania kids.
By repeatedly condemning the homophobic and white supremacist anti-Muslim protesters, while seeming to be incapable of condemning the Muslim terrorists. But the Babylon Bee got there before him. Their Saturday headline read, Mamdani condemns New Yorkers for making Muslims throw bombs at them. Thanks so much for playing. More coming up right after this.
Almost makes it seem like New Yorkers carry bombs. Pennsylvania teenagers carry bombs. Who's carrying the bombs? Good golly, it don't look like their stuff worked anyway. Thank goodness. But yeah. I just had to show you how ludicrous. I just wanted to play this ludicrous stuff. Crazy. Alright. Watch those Pennsylvania teenagers. Y'all have a good day. God bless.